Howdy, Guardians! As you may know, in what seems to be a teaser for the mass exotic weapon reworks coming in Season 19, the exotic fusion rifle Telesto appears to have recently received an exotic rework, which does not look to be leaving anytime soon. Previously, the Telesto would fire a 7-bolt spread, which would act as mines, sticking to the target's location and exploding after a set period of time, receiving enough damage, or when in close proximity to a combatant. However, while this was good in select situations, it was never a damage monster in PvE activities. In this video, we will compare the damage of the Telesto in its original form to its reworked counterpart. Going further, we will be comparing the reworked Telesto's damage to that of other high-profile fusion rifles currently in the game. Before going into damage, I want to clarify some points. Single magazine damage will refer to the total damage a weapon can do in one magazine. Encounter damage, on the other hand, will be the weapon's entire damage output in a 30-second damage window. All damage testing for this video will take place in the first boss encounter of the Grasp of Avarice dungeon. No buffs, debuffs, amplification buffs, or weapons mods will be used when calculating damage numbers. With that being said, let's go and test some damage. In its original form, the Telesto had a magazine size of 7, an RPM of 45, a base reserve of 22, and a base reload speed of 1.93 seconds. Since the original form of this weapon is no longer testable, all data for this version will be coming from the Destiny 2 weapon damage chart, which will be linked in the description below. When calculating damage on this version of the fusion rifle, we can see that the Telesto had a single mag damage of 22,131 and an encounter damage of 550,704. This damage is rather average when it comes to fusion rifle DPS. However, it is important to note that the Telesto does have one powerful upside, being that its damage is not affected by range falloff, unlike other fusion rifles. In its reworked form, the Telesto still has the same magazine size of 7, RPM of 45, base reserves of 22, and a base reload speed of 1.93 seconds. From damage calculations, we can see that the reworked Telesto has an average single mag damage of 310,268. The average encounter damage of this version of the gun comes out to be 768,963. This is significantly higher than its original form, a 39% increase in damage to be exact. Now that we have the damage numbers for the Telesto's original and reworked forms, how does it compare to other fusion rifles in the game? Let's compare it to an old powerhouse, the Merciless. The Merciless has a magazine size of 8, RPM of 85, base reserve of 21, and a base reload speed of 2.034 seconds. Through testing, we were able to see that the Merciless has an average single mag damage of 246,504, and an average encounter damage of 563,143. This is comparable to the original Telesto's damage. Another exotic fusion we will be testing is the Jotun. This exotic fusion rifle caters more towards PvP, but did get a recent buff with the addition of a catalyst, which added both cornered and incandescent to the weapon. The Jotun has a magazine size of 5, RPM of 52, base reserve of 22, and a base reload speed of 2.134 seconds. Through testing, we could determine that the Jotun has a single mag damage of 145,978 and a total encounter damage of 490,623. This damage is nothing crazy, however, the DPS could theoretically slightly increase while cornered is activated. Moving on to the most recent addition to the fusion rifle lineup, we have the Delicate Tomb. This is an ARC fusion rifle that is unique in its ability to have 2 different firing patterns and spreads. For the purpose of damage testing, we are going to be testing the vertical spread pattern of this weapon when it's aimed in. The Delicate Tomb has a magazine size of 6, RPM of 58, base reserve of 29, and a base reload speed of 1.666 seconds. After running further damage tests, the average single mag damage of this weapon is 90,928 with an average encounter damage of 527,210. One thing to note about this weapon, the weapon damage could be increased when paired with an ARC subclass running Jolt. However, this does not result in a monumental change to its damage. The last of the exotic fusions we will be testing in this video is Bastion. This fusion rifle is unique as it is purely a kinetic fusion rifle, the only one like it in the game. For those who do not know, kinetic special weapons deal 10% increased damage to unshielded combatants in PvE activities. The Bastion exotic fusion rifle has a magazine size of 4, RPM of 39, base reserve of 20, and a base reload speed of 1.917 seconds. After running some damage tests, we can determine that the Bastion has an average single mag damage of 164,454 and an average encounter damage of 586,648. Moving on from exotic fusions, let's go ahead and look at some of the most notable legendary fusion rifles in the game. To start, let's look at No Compulsion, using high impact reserves in the 4th column. Being a rapid fire frame fusion rifle, the No Compulsion has a magazine size of 6, an RPM of 58, base reserves of 11, and a base reload speed of 1.684 seconds. For damage, the null composure is sitting at an average of 124,676 damage for a single magazine, and an average encounter damage of 477,873. This is rather decent for a curated legendary that is easy to obtain. I would not suggest using this as a primary source of damage, but having it as a backup to swap to when your main source of damage is depleted would not be terrible. Last but not least in our damage testing, we have the legendary fusion rifle Deliverance from the Vow of the Disciple raid. For this, we are going to be testing the damage of the base gun combined with the Chill Clip perk. We are doing this in order to gain bonus damage from the stasis interaction Freeze. For those who do not know, special, heavy, and light-based abilities do an extra 5% damage to targets that are frozen. Moreover, once a frozen target takes enough damage, they will shatter, dealing around 7.2 thousand damage. This can be procced multiple times in an encounter. The perk Chill Clip applies 50 slow stacks to the target with each hit of the top half of the magazine and creates a detonating blast that slows nearby targets. Being a precision frame fusion rifle, the Deliverance has a magazine size of 7, RPM of 46, base reserve of 10, and a reload speed of 1.9 seconds. Through testing, we can determine that the Deliverance has an average single mag damage of 157,291 and an average encounter damage of 525,955. After seeing all this information, what is the best option to run? The Reworked Telesto still comes out on top of all damage tests, being the clear frontrunner in terms of usability. Moreover, due to its lack of range falloff, Telesto can be used in nearly all encounters in the game and still stay viable. This is something that other fusion rifles are unable to do. The only downside to this is that the Telesto takes up an exotic slot. In a situation where you are already running an exotic weapon, the best in slot would be the Deliverance. This is due to its ability to apply the stasis effect Freeze, providing our team with a bonus 5% increase to their damage. Now, are fusion rifles the best in slot when it comes to special weapons? In most cases, no. A Wither Horde combined with heavy weapon DPS will still outclass most damage shown here today. However, there are still many situations in the game where fusion rifles do shine. It is completely encounter dependent. If you'd like to keep up with the channel and see more content like this in the future, including further in-depth looks at weapons, damage testing, and builds, make sure to subscribe. Moreover, make sure to follow on all social medias linked below and join my clan's Discord. Last but not least, I'd like to give a shout out to some of my clan members, Thor and Looney, for helping out with the testing in this video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, Guardians.